Alright, several would ask about this hinge. This hinge does not require a drill press or a drill to cut the hinges. It basically just use a table saw. You cut a nice parallel curve at the same depth, and then you will take this sheet of paper and cut out this square right here, and then you would glue that, contact cement that onto your piece of paper like that with the fingers on it. The dotted lines represent the dowel where it would go right here, and this is a rough finished deal. It is basically just all it's been is just drilled, cut, or sanded just a little bit, and I mean it's still very rough. But you can take these and shape them back down to fit in your whatever it is you're building. You know, the hinge can be a side mount, it can be a flat mount. We use them for like a frontiersman type box, and this is just one size. You could vary this way by dropping your pin size down and making your kerf size on your hinge a little bit, and then you could use thinner material on this. So I think you could probably go probably down to 1/4 inch and or a little bit less than 1/4 inch on this material, and still have a pretty hardy hinge. Do recommend hardwood, and basically how you do this is you take your table saw and you set it up a nice good straight fence. Put your height down there to where it's just barely going to cut this little notch out on one pass. You pass it through there on one time, turn it around, and pass it through there in that way. And then you may, after you've done that 3 or 4 times, you may clean that out. What you're wanting to do is create a slot for it to fit in there comfortably without a lot of play. And there's the other side that you would have cut out. And you may need to remove some stock out of the middle. The main thing is that you want it to be able to, you know, slide through there and make an easy pivoting hinge. In this case right here, you know, that's basically square socket, round peg, and that's what you've done. So we've cut that, we've done this. The next step would be to take some waterproof glue if it's an exterior box, and of course sand these pieces on a sander to get a good smooth surface. Spread your glue on here, get a good coating on both sides, and then you would just clamp that. And then once it's clamped together, you'll come up with a box, you know, block of wood basically like this, and then you would cut this out right here, and then you would take that, and that will have some contact cement, spray it on your board, put it on there. About 2 minutes, it's ready to start cutting. And then you just follow the lines. Be very neat, straight. No walled out corners. Everything is nice and straight. And you cut that out, and then pretty soon you'll have 2 parts that look like this. And then they just fit together, and you can again shape them to be whatever you want to. Even your glue joint, if you've done a good job clamping it and it's good planed, you won't even see your glue joint. So again, they make a nice, cool all wooden hinge, and I'm getting ready to cut one out on the saw, and we'll just see what this one does as far as the ability to cut it out. Easy enough. Coming over here to the scroll saw. We've got another blank over here. It's the same one of the extra ones, and you know, there it is. So we're going to go ahead and fire it up and start cutting now. The main thing is that you want to follow the line as closely as you can, and then keep it held down, back it up just a hair. Everybody knows how to use a scroll saw, and I'm used to working with a church scout group, so I've got to kind of tell them as I'm doing this how this works. And you want to stay inside the black line, and if you start getting out of the black line, you just simply back up, let the saw do the cutting. And I generally back up with just a hair on the corners and just holding that down there. Now I will say there's a world of difference on saws. Some of them will vibrate to death. Others are pretty good. I don't even really know what condition this blade is in. Probably been used for something. And I just come over here to start cutting on it. But you get that corner rounded out, and you know, you do a little sanding on it, and it'll sit there and fit real well. Again, I'm just letting the saw do the cutting, and then I'm going to back it up just a hair and come come back and do my turn. Now if this is a pine or a piece of it's not softwood, it'd be no problem, but this is oak, so it's a little bit trickier. And got a little bit out of line. We'll back up a little bit. There we go, holding it down. And off to the cutting. Again, backing up just a little bit. Holding it good down on the table. And back to the corner. Okay, backing it up. Turning it down. And then following the line. Okay, right there I got in that dowel hole. And this went off just a hair. You know what? That's what's the miracle thing about wood. And you can hide stuff like that with a little bit of finishing power and a little bit of dust, and stuff looks really good. So, alright, we're down to the last run. And turn it there to stay on it. And a little bit of vibration on it. Okay, so we jumped out of it. We'll turn the saw off. There's your fingers, and they cut out fairly good, you know, and there's your part there. And we'll put the dowel in here just to let you see what that looks like. So there's your dowel. Now, this won't turn because we have to sand these fingers down on both sides so that it will pass this radius right here. This has got to be passed, so we'll go take this over to the bench sander and we'll sand them fingers, and we'll go ahead and do that now. I've been rearranging and just took over the double car garage as a shop. I've had shop buildings before, but it's not my profession, it's a hobby. First thing I'm going to do is just clean this belt. All I did is sand it off the edges of them. I'm going to put that on there. And you can see they're still hitting a little bit right in there. So you need to sand them just a little bit more. Not too bad where it's at, but you can feel the friction in it. And just right here on the edge of that finger, it's binding. This side's not too bad, but that side right there is a little bit tight. Okay, there's my little bit of sanding on it, a little more than I probably roughly needed, but now your hinges is opening and closing easy, no problem. All I did is just want to show you that when you go to looking at your board with a glue joint, you don't really see that. And there's your end grain. And now another thing you can do with this is you can take this hinge, and if you don't want this, you can cut in some designs around in here and also taper this part here down to almost nothing so that the hinge doesn't have a whole lot of reveal off of the side of it. And of course I've sanded this a little bit much. I'd probably take that over to the sander and sand that up just a little bit more so that it would meet up just even a little bit neater. But other than taking a little sandpaper and maybe cleaning these edges up just a little bit with some, fine sandpaper to get it to really cleans up, and you can do that as well. And so there's that hinge. And another thing you can do is, of course, with a scroll saw, is before you cut your fingers out, go ahead and cut a design in it. This is like my FCF name. This would be right in here, and I could have cut that out with a scroll saw and some letters, and then have that done before I go to working on my hinge. And so that's kind of a neat thing. So wooden hinges are really cool, and they're a lot of fun. And the oak is definitely a way to go. Again, you can scale them down with a 1/8 inch like brass rod. I don't know that I would go much smaller on a dowel for strength, but you could go with a rod pin, and you can get like a bronze welding rod for cheap, and then drill this little hole here would be a lot less, and like basically one saw cut, and then your material could be considerably thinner, and away you go. So that's a hinge, and I'll probably make another set and we'll put that on a box of some kind. Thanks for watching.